Well, good afternoon. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come learn about 3 keys to aging with your body, brain, and balance. I'm the owner of Together One. I'm so excited to share with you today a lot of the things that we've learned along this journey of helping adults over 60 strengthen their bodies, brains, and balance. So today's presentation is going to be interactive. I really hope that you want to get up and moving a little bit. And so we won't do too much, don't worry. And if you would prefer to stay seated, that is fine as well. I will also be asking some questions. And when I put the questions up on the screen, you're going to answer the question by either holding up the number of the answer, either 1 to 4. So we'll have a little interaction that way too. So to get it started off, my first question, I always like to know what people feel about exercise. So here's my first question. What is your first thought when you hear the word exercise? 1, it's your happy place. 2, you don't love it, but you'll do it. 3, you'd like to think about your sofa instead. Or 4, junior high PE class PTSD. Okay, so show me your answer. Okay. We've got, I like it, mostly 1s and 2s. That's really, this is an easy audience. Wow. It's funny because when everyone has a different opinion about exercise, I feel like, and there's some pretty wide ranges, and oftentimes it relates back to how it was framed or how we experienced it when we were young. And so today I want to propose that we just reframe this a little bit. And even if we do that only during this presentation, I'd like to propose that we look at exercise as a pathway to freedom. And so in Together One, we help adults over 60 strengthen their bodies, brains, and balance with personalized in-home training. And this is the key, so that they can continue to do what they love to do. And really, so our heart is the freedom of being able to move and do what you be engaged in life. And that's why we train. And so whether or not we come at exercise from a place of loving it or hating it, we can now look at it as it's just another avenue to freedom. And so I'm going to give you some tools for that today. But I wanted to show you first my inspiration and my why. So this is one of my favorite pictures. So this is my Grandpa Raymond. He is 88 years old in that picture. And that is my son, Jesse. And they were having a headstand contest in this picture. And so Grandpa Raymond he was winning the contest because Jesse was already done. And Grandpa Raymond was still going on strong and kept going and going and going. And if you knew my grandpa, this was not unusual behavior. This was kind of just who he was. So he was such an inspiration to me, both him and my grandmother, because they stayed healthy and strong, engaged their entire life, and it gave them the opportunity to speak into future generations. So here he is with his great-grandson, and he was able to be involved in his life, which was such a gift to all of us. And so when I think about why I exercise, why I do all the things that I do to stay healthy, my why is future generations. And so I've got a picture here of my family. It's expanded very rapidly this summer. We brought in 2 daughter-in-laws. And so I have 4 children. My husband's pictured there. And then this is at my youngest wedding that just recently took place. And so hopefully we'll have lots of little babies in the picture at some point. And so my why is I would love to be involved in my grandchildren's lives, stay active. And my real dream is that I will be doing headstand contests with my great-grandchildren, just like my Grandpa Raymond. So that's my why. And as I'm talking, I want you to think about your why too. There's a lot of reasons why we stay engaged in life. So just be processing through that, and I'm going to come back to that later. Okay, so the three B's. I like to call them the 3 B's. Body, brain, and balance. The reason why we focus on these in our business is because if you start to lose function in any one of these, you lose freedom that goes with it. And so we like to bring all of these elements together in our program so that we stay strong and functional in all different ways. So we're going to start with body training. And we're going to, in the course of this presentation, I'm going to give you some very tangible hands-on things. That's why we're going to practice. But I also hopefully want to just weave in a lot of the why we do what we do as well. So I'm going to share Cheryl's story. She was a client who came to me. I always talk about her as my young one because she was only 60. She was when she came to me, and she was struggling to get out of her chair without pushing up. And a lot of people experience that, but Cheryl was 60. She saw that she was having grandkids come into her life, and she didn't want to lose that ability to play with her grandkids, especially getting up off the floor. And she was on the outside, she looked incredibly healthy. You wouldn't have guessed that she was struggling with this, but she was a counselor for her whole life, and so she spent most of her day seated and just chatting with people. And as she didn't really do strength training on the side, and so as life had gone on, she had slowly lost that ability to push out of a chair. And so we started working together. She's a fun story. It doesn't always happen this instantly, but we worked just a few weeks on some very targeted leg training. And within about 6 weeks, she was not only standing up in a chair one time, but she was doing it multiple times over and over. And she was just so thrilled that she was able to do this. And it always strikes me, and I like to talk about her story, because what we did was not rocket science. It really wasn't a whole lot of investment for her, but it completely changed her life, because now she's not afraid of being stuck in the chair. She knows that she knows now. We taught her how to stay strong and how to keep doing things that are going to allow her to stay engaged in life. So I bring this in as hope. I want to share the hope that it's not, when we say the word exercise, it doesn't mean it's lots. It doesn't have to be lots. But intentional things that you do over and over make a huge difference. So here's our next little quiz. So hold up your fingers. What is the number one predictor of a senior's ability to remain independent? Is it 1, your blood pressure level? 2, the clock drawing test? Is it 3, leg strength? Or 4, educational background? Yep, those who have the 3, it is 3. So oftentimes, I don't know if any of you have had this experience, but I am told that when you go to the doctor, sometimes they do what's called the sit to stand test, and they see how many times you can stand up in 30 seconds. And this gives the doctors a lot of information about whether or not you'll be able to remain independent. And so we use this as the number one predictor. So the good thing about this is you have a lot of control over leg strength in general. So this isn't, sometimes blood pressure, we have some control, but clock drawing tests, things change cognitively. We don't always have full control over that. Leg strength, there's a lot you can do to help that. And so I think that's a really encouraging thing. So the average American will lose about 5 pounds of muscle each decade after the age of 30. This is pretty staggering. This means that most average Americans will have only half of their original muscle mass when they are 60 years old. So if you think about that, oftentimes people will start to get weaker, and the first thing they say is, "Oh, I must be getting old." And actually, no, you've just lost half of your muscle. So as we age, we naturally lose a small amount of muscle. It's called sarcopenia. It's muscle that is part of aging. But it's not drastic. It actually is a very slow curve that you lose muscle naturally. What's drastic is the strength loss due to inactivity and not training the body over time. And so the loss of 5 pounds of muscle each decade, that is because people do not strength train the same way we used to. Mm-hmm.
I'm curious about that number, because that means that as you go along, every decade you're losing a higher percentage of
Absolutely.
what's left.
Yeah. And most people gain weight at the same time. So we're replacing the muscle with fat. So it just becomes harder and harder to move the body. Yeah. And it's preventable, which is encouraging. So the good news about this is that strength training 2 to 3 times a week reverses the loss of muscle in individuals of all ages. That was a study that was put out quite a while ago when they studied this. In the study, they found the strength training consisted of 20 to 30 minute sessions. So we're not talking about a lot of time. This is not saying you need to go to the gym for an hour and a half 3 times a week. This is 20 to 30 minutes of targeted training 2 to 3 times a week. So that's very manageable. Also, what I like to tell people is a new study just recently came out, and they broke the 20 to 30 minutes into 5-minute chunks. So instead of, they had a control group that did the 20 to 30 minutes all in one session, and then they had another group that broke it into 5-minute chunks throughout the day. The results were identical, except that the group that broke it into 5-minute chunks had just slightly an advantage over the ones that did it all in one session. So that's huge, because oftentimes, at least the excuse we tell ourselves is, well, I don't have enough time for that. But I'm going to show you today, you do have enough time. And if we break it into 5-minute chunks, it's totally manageable. So this amazing gentleman in the picture happens to be in our audience today. This is my father, and if anyone's done suspension training, he is on a suspension training doing a push-up, and I just had to brag on him for a second because that's pretty stinking amazing. So he has worked like his father, he's worked his whole life to maintain strength, and so he's in his 80s and able to do incredible things like this, which is a gift to future generations. So when we're looking at strength training, we want to do what's called functional strength training. And that means that we are doing activities in our strength training that help us in everyday movements. So it might be picking something up and putting it somewhere, or maybe going upstairs, or having to reach overhead and put something away, getting down on a low step. We want to maintain the ability to get down, get in and out of a car easily. And then the ultimate, right, getting on the ground so you can play with your grandkids. Mm-hmm. We want to maintain those abilities. And so the things that I will give you today are with that idea in mind, that these are things that help you maintain the freedom to do these wonderful everyday functional activities. So I'm going to give you, throughout the course of this presentation, I'm going to give you a couple options. So I'm going to give you a 5-minute workout that you can do in each area. But in case 5 minutes feels too long, I'm going to tell you, if only you did one thing today, if only you make one change, here it is. And I'm going to give you that exercise. So that hopefully for everybody, there's something you can take away today that you can do, that you can start. So here's our first one for strength training. If you do just one thing, sit to stands. Some of you might have heard this before. These are incredibly important because when you go from a seated position to a standing position in the chair, you're working pretty much every muscle in your lower body. And so it is very effective for strengthening those muscles. So there's a lot of different ways you can do sit to stands. For a lot of people, like my client Cheryl, when she started, she had to push up. That's a fine place to start. If you don't have to push up, then you're trying to do just as many as you can. Maybe you can hold something heavy. Maybe like one of my clients was doing yesterday. She's an 80-year-old client, and we didn't start here, by the way, but she was standing up and then jumping, which was pretty cool. So I even got it on video. So that there's lots of different ways to do this one single movement, but it's a really important one. We're going to incorporate it. So in a minute, we're going to do some of these things, but I'm going to bring it into the 5 minutes. So if you have 5 minutes throughout your day, here's just an idea of something you can do. And all of these are really functional movements. So I'm going to explain the why that we're doing this, and then we'll go ahead and do it together. And you guys will find that maybe a minute is a little too long for some of these, And so that's fine. You rest when you need to, and you work up to being able to do it a minute. That can be an awesome goal.
Do you
So,
have a handout that says that?
right, it should be on
Okay.
your chair. Yep,
Okay,
I
great.
do. Yep, this is all on your handout. Okay, so your first one will be ankle alphabets. I'm going to hold on to something so I don't topple over here while I'm demonstrating, but you're going to be taking your big toe and you're drawing alphabet letters with your big toe. And so you're going through the alphabet that way. This is really, really good for ankle strengthening. We need our ankles. They're our first line of defense with balance. So this helps strengthen the ankles. It makes it easier to walk. It also really helps with circulation. So there's a lot of reasons to do this one. If I have a boring meeting, I do it under the table, but don't tell anyone. So it's just something that you can do whenever. Yeah.
I love that. Help with neuropathy.
It can't. Getting that blood flow is very, yes. Mm-hmm.
It does help with
Yeah, getting the blood flowing down there. Yeah. Yep. Okay, the next one will be a 1 minute sit to stand. And we'll do this, we'll probably do about 45 seconds today just because of time. But if you need to quit earlier, you can do that. If you can go the whole 45 seconds, great. If you can jump it, hey, I'm not going to stop you. So, okay, the next one is a minute of heel raises. And so this one, you'll be going up on those toes. And when we do this, we strengthen our calf muscles and even our hamstrings. And so this is really pivotal with leg strength too, with walking, with balance. This is really helpful. And then we're going to do a minute of lifting an object overhead. And maybe we don't have a lot of options here, but the idea, yeah, the fan. You could do your water bottle, your purse. But if you're at home, if you have dumbbells, go ahead and grab dumbbells. If you don't, you can do a gallon of milk, a milk gallon filled with water. You can fill it with rocks if you're really ambitious. But the idea is just we're lifting overhead. If that hurt, if you have shoulder issues, that's hard, then you can do down here and you can just be doing some curls with that. So lifting it this way. The next one we're going to do is a minute of shoulder squeezes. And the reason why we do this is for posture. Posture is hugely important as we age because it affects our balance. If we're forward at all, our balance, our center of gravity is forward as well. So it makes it a lot harder to balance. It also impacts the lower back when your posture is forward, and it helps you just be stronger. When you can stand up straight, you're going to be stronger. You're actually going to be able to lift higher over your head. So there's all sorts of reasons to work on our posture. So the last one will be shoulder squeezes, and all you do is squeeze those shoulder blades in the back together. So I'll turn around. You're squeezing together. Sometimes people will go like this. Don't hike them here, but just keep them down and squeeze. Okay. All right, so if you choose to participate, which I really hope you do, then we're going to start here, just a minute, so maybe clear your space so you have a little room around you. Okay, so we're going to start with those ankle alphabet. I'm going to give you about 20 seconds on each ankle. And so you'll just see how far through the alphabet you can get. All right, begin your time. Very nice. Colin will give us some workout music or something, or sing, or.
Let's get physical.
There we go.
He's remembering the alphabet while we're trying to
I know. That's so true.
right?
If you're having trouble with that, the next section's going to be a real doozy. Okay, other foot. Now we're switching. Does anyone feel that in the calf muscles? Yeah, start to feel it. You can see how much it works those muscles down there.
It's harder on one side.
Oftentimes, yeah. Yep. We have a dominant side on our legs as well. Yeah, it's easy to notice that. Okay, stop there. Great job. Now we're going into that sit to stand. So just where you're at, you're going to go from a seated position to a standing position. And begin. Yes. Great job. As you're doing this too, just a side note, totally unrelated, but when you do this right after you have a meal, this helps your body. It helps your body actually not spike the insulin quite so high. So as long as you don't make yourself sick. But this can be a really good thing to help with insulin levels too. So especially if you're diabetic or pre-diabetic, this is a wonderful way to deal with it. Okay, how are we doing? We're 31 seconds in. You're looking amazing. I know. Yes, so good. Now, if you have to bow out here soon, that's okay. You're almost there. I'm going to let you experience a minute on this one, just so we feel that. And you know you have a starting point, too. If this feels hard, then you can work to get to the point that this isn't quite as hard. Almost there. 2 seconds. And stop. Awesome. Okay. Now, the heel raises, we can do the heel raises either standing or you can do them seated. Either way, you'll get a little more benefit out of it if you're standing, but make sure you hold on to something if you're doing that, if your balance feels off. Okay, begin your minute. Heel raises. Yes, very nice.
Is that mom in the picture?
It is. Yes, those who noticed, that is my mom in the picture. She's been a client for 11 years? Yeah, quite a long time. She can also do amazing feats. I don't have a picture of her doing something. I mean, that's pretty cool. What she's doing is really cool, actually. Never mind.
Is that her the third picture down there?
No, but that, I know.
Is that Naomi?
No, it's just, unfortunately, just random clip art. You guys are doing great. We've got 5 more seconds. Okay, and stop. All right, now grab your object. I'm going to get this pen, which really isn't that intense, but maybe you can find something heavier. Okay, and begin. We're going to go overhead. Good. Now, when we're lifting anything, any of this, you want to keep what we call our core engaged. We do that by pulling our belly button towards our back. We pull it in. That engages the muscles that stabilize you around the midsection. And that keeps your back safe when you're doing exercise. I love all these purses. This is great. I think the ladies are getting a better workout than the guys. Okay, 10 more seconds. Good job. Now, if you're at home, you can probably find something even heavier. All right, and stop. All right, and our last one is that shoulder squeeze. So either standing or seated, you're squeezing those shoulders together. And just think about standing upright. There's been a lot of studies talking about posture and how it even affects the way we feel, affects the way we breathe. It has a lot of correlations. So, really important. Okay, you're doing good. We're going to do about 10 more seconds of shoulder squeezes. This is if you've been at the computer for a while, this is a great way to just reset the shoulders and counterbalance the forward head position that we often have after being on the computer. Okay, stop there. Okay, get some water, relax. You can sit down. You did a great job. Okay, so if you think about that was 5 minutes of targeted exercise. You would only have to do that 3 more times today to get a full 20 minutes. So that is, it's doable, right? It's not too overwhelming, especially once we get used to it. And it feels good too. There's so many benefits to just getting our blood moving. One of the benefits of getting our blood moving is actually our brain. So now we're going to transition into brain training and what that looks like. There's a concept that I want to introduce if this is a new concept to you. It's called cognitive reserve. And cognitive reserve It's our brain's ability to stay sharp and adapt despite aging or challenges. So in your brain, you have a lot of neural connections. There's information all over, and then there's neural connections helping us connect all that information. When a person, over the course of their life, has done a lot of difficult, challenging brain things, they have what we call a really high cognitive reserve. They've created a lot of neural connections in their brain because they've done all these challenging things. We create neural connections when we do new, novel things. And so what the benefit of that is, if that person at any point in time has a brain injury or they encounter dementia, a neurological condition, then we have a lot longer runway until that affects us the same way. So I explain it like this. If you've got a city hub and then you've got all these streets going into that city hub, there's a lot of different ways that you can get around if one of those streets gets blocked. Well, if you only have one street leading into that city hub and then it gets blocked, pretty much you can't access that information anymore. And so that's what having a high cognitive reserve means. We've created a lot of streets to all the different things in our brain. And so if something were to happen to our brain, we can still access that information in other ways. And so I think it's time for another survey. Yes, it is. Okay. I'm not going to give away the answer. Okay, so answer 1 to 4. What's the best way to stimulate new neural growth in the brain? 1, cardio exercise. 2, puzzles, which I love the puzzles that Choice Hospice provided over here. That's pretty cool. 3, strength exercise. Or 4, exercise and brain challenges together. What is it? Very nice. You guys are so smart. You're right, it's 4. So we know that exercise is really, really good for the brain on many levels. Cardio exercise is great. Strength exercise is great as well. When we do high-intensity strength training, it creates something called bone-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF. That stimulates growth in the brain and activity in the brain. So we know those are good things. We also know that puzzles are really good for the brain. So thank you for bringing those. And then, but when we combine those two things together, so we do something that's a movement combined with a brain challenge, it's the best thing that you can do. Studies are showing that that's the maximum that you can help your brain, because that is almost always new and novel to your brain when we combine those things together. So when we're working with clients, we're always focused on, we're looking at 4 things that we want to continue to challenge. Our brain has a lot of functions, but when it comes to aging well, we want to make sure that we're maintaining a high level of attention. This would be like if you're driving down a street, you need to be able to pay attention and keep focused on those things. We're also wanting to help with processing speed, so the ability to take in information and use that information quickly. Memory is a big one. Almost everyone has at least some worry or concern that they'll start to lose memory. And so we want to address that. And so we create exercises that help with memory. And then also executive functioning. And this is just the ability to multitask in the brain. So kind of like a busy secretary, our executive functioning in the brain takes in lots of different things and helps you understand that information and then use it. And so we're going to look at one exercise that if you do just one thing for the brain, this is a really great one. We've got a little thing on there. So I like this one because we're going to be combining an exercise that looks very familiar, the sit to stands, and then at the same time counting back by 7s. I often find that 7s is a little, if you're like me, it's a little hard to start with counting back by 7s, and you might want to start with 3s or 4s or something a little easier. But this is such a good challenge because it's it's using a lot of different parts of the brain at once, and then we're also using the body. And I put the guys saying this is fun. So it's so crazy. Oftentimes when we're working with clients, we'll be giving them a cognitive challenge, and they'll forget that they were doing the sit to stand in the beginning. They're like, oh, I'm so tired, but I didn't even realize. And some of them actually say this is fun. Not always, but mostly. So if you had just one thing to do, sit to stand while you're counting back by sevens is a really great thing. So here's our 5 minutes. If we have 5 minutes, and this, if you can't read it, well, we've got it on the paper too in front of you here, but if you have 5 minutes. So we're going to go through these together. This is going to probably be the hardest part of the exercise section today, at least for me. These are pretty hard. We're going to be naming different animals while we've got our arms out to the side. So we're using that recall part of the brain. This gets challenging. I find that at about 20 seconds, your mind just starts to go blank. We have to really dig down. Okay, the next one is a peace and okay sign switch. So I'm going to have an okay sign in one hand, a peace sign in the other, and then I'm going to switch off. Okay, I practiced for hours doing this, guys, and this is as good as it gets, but yeah. Okay. Well, okay. Oh, that one. Oh. Okay, the next one is cross body taps. So we'll be here crossing our body. And then we're going to be, what are we going to be doing? Something backwards, I forgot. Oh, doing the alphabet backwards. Okay. So this is, if you're really smart, like my dad over there, then you can do this one, counting backwards. If you're more on my level, then you can go forward, but just skip some letters in there. So A, C, I'm going to skip every other one. So we've got options on that one, just depending on where you are. Okay. All right. Now the next one is another one on our hand, and we're going to be counting down on one hand while we're counting up on the other. I know. Okay. This is going to be tough. Okay. And thank you. And then the last one we're going to end with, we're going to do that sit to stand while counting backwards. I'm going to say 4s on this one, but if you want to go for the 7, go for it. Okay. Oh, we're going to start, let's start at 80 for that one. Let's count back by 4s. Okay. You guys ready? Here we go. Let's do, you can start seated. Yeah, let's start seated, and then when we go into the sit to stand, then we'll rise. Okay, so we're going to start with naming different animals while rotating your arms. And I just thought about our seating arrangement. How about we there you go. Yeah, or out front. So, okay, begin. All right, start naming those animals. Try not to copy off your person next. Okay, let's reverse the direction of our arms. Keep going. Okay, we're 20 seconds in. If you've drawn a blank, that's why. All right, dig down deep, guys, dig down. Okay, let's stop there. Very nice. Okay, good. Okay, now that peace okay sign. All right, here we go. All right, just do your best. Whew, a lot of concentration with this one. This is a safe space, right? We can. Okay. Yeah. Good. Okay, a few more seconds. All right, stop there. Okay, good work. All right, now we're going to do our cross-body taps. And we are saying the alphabet either backwards if you're high level. If you're like me, you're going to skip every other letter going forward. Very nice, very nice. And bonus points if you get those knees up really high, because then we're really having to work the quads to get some extra exercise there. Okay, 10 more seconds. Keep going. Good job, guys. Okay, stop there. Now we're doing opposite hand counting. So you're going down on one hand, up on the other.
That's not going to be 5 minutes. It's going to be a whole lot longer.
Well, sometimes you can only take 5 minutes of this, honestly. Sometimes it's so tough you have to go in spurts. Keep going. You guys look like you're really concentrating. That's good. Good work, guys. Okay, stop there. Very nice. Okay, our last one. We're going to do the sit to stand, and we're counting backwards by 4s. We're going to start at 80. All right, and begin. If you're extra ambitious, count back by 7s. If you want to stay seated, you can just march while you're doing this. Little marches. Just keep that body moving a little bit. Good job. Very nice. All right. You've got 5 seconds. Okay, it's stop there and rest. Very nice. Great job. Okay, who feels it in the brain? It's hard. Huh? All right, so what
I
you...
mean, it's making my head explode.
Is it? Yeah. Yeah, so what you just did is you just created a lot of neural connections. So you literally came in smart. You'll leave smarter than you came in. So you're welcome, guys. All right. So the last area we're going to address is balance. And balance is so important to maintaining independence. We know this. And there's a lot of things that we can do to strengthen our balance. Oftentimes people think, well, I'm just getting older. There's nothing I can do. And that is actually absolutely not true. At any age, we can improve our balance. If, the people that join the circus, they are not up walking the tightrope on the first day that they join the circus. They have to train and train and train and train. And it's the same thing at any age. We might not be walking in the circus ever, but we can be better at balance than we were a few days ago if we're just consistently training it. And so we're going to do a few things for that. Studies show that if we do a simple balance and exercise program, it reduces our fall risk by 40%. That's really staggering. So a lot of times we're so focused on not falling that it kind of scares us, and that makes it so that we kind of feel like we're more likely to fall. And so I like to look on the other side of that, and what can we do to train our bodies so that we don't fall, so that we reduce our fall risk. And so a simple balance and exercise program can do that. And it's really fun to see that with people, to see the improvement over time when they do consistent work with balance. So here's our quiz. I think it's our last one. So how long should an average healthy adult over 65 be able to stand on one leg? Is it 1, 3 seconds, 2, 10 seconds, 3, 20 seconds, or 4, 45 seconds? What do you think? Okay. All right. This was kind of tricky one because it's 10. So yes, so now you were like, oh no, I'm like so behind, but you might be able to do 10 seconds. And certainly a lot of people can work up to that point. And if you can do 10 seconds, you're going to be a lot better off. And I'll explain why. When you're walking, you can see that when I'm walking, naturally, there's some time that I'm on one foot. So I'll exaggerate it by doing a march, but I'm spending time on one foot. So a lot of people, as they age, they walk like this, right? Their base of support becomes really wide and their legs shuffle. Well, the reason is because you are a lot more stable if you're shuffling because you have 2 points of contact on the ground. But we want to maintain the ability to be able to walk normally so that we can function in a normal way. And so that's why training single leg is really, really helpful. And so, but it doesn't take, it's not so overwhelming. If you can get up to the point that you can do 10 seconds, you're doing really good. And so with balance training, there's 3 main components that go into balance. The visual system. So our eyes give us a lot of information and they help with balance. If we know this, I was just talking to Adele before about this, but we know that when we close our eyes, it's a lot harder to balance. And so the reason being is that you get so much information into your brain through your eyes. And so training your eyes to be optimum in their ability to give your brain information, it can be very helpful for balance. The other area that we like to look at is our vestibular system. So that's our inner ear. And our inner ear helps our brain understand the movement in our body. And so oftentimes if our head's moving side to side or up and down, that we start to feel a little bit off balance. A classic example is on a roller coaster. Your inner ear is just working really, really hard to try to keep up with that motion. So it's an important component. The other is our somatosensory system, and this is little proprioceptors in our muscles, and these tell us where we are in relation to the ground. And so we want that really strong too. An example of how we would train that is just having someone on an uneven surface, like standing on a pillow, and you're trying to navigate that. We've all been on an uneven surface, and we're like, whoa, that's our somatosensory system trying to do its job. So when I brought in the 5 minutes of balance fun for you, and we're looking at challenging each of these different areas. Not so much in this one, I just realized with the somatosensory, but one way you would do that at home is standing on a pillow or that type of thing. Okay, so if you do just one thing to help your balance, single leg stand. And this doesn't have to even be a separate moment of the day. I like to combine this with brushing my teeth. So this is how I brush my teeth. And at first my husband thought I was crazy, and now he thinks I'm awesome. And he starts doing it too. So I don't know if he thinks I'm really awesome. But anyway, I just do it because I know that it's going to help. So that's when I do mine. So you can combine it with something else. But let's look at the 5, if you have 5 minutes. First thing you can do is moving the eyes side to side. If you struggle with balance, you might want to do this in a seated position. If your balance is a little stronger, you can go ahead and start this standing. If it's really strong, you can move to a challenging balance stance, like one foot in the front of the other or single leg, just kind of depending on where you're at. But when you move the eyes from, I'm going to pick 2 points. I'm going to pick a point over on my left and then on my right. I'm going to move my eyes between those 2 points, trying to stay focused on each point and move those eyes as quick as I can. You'll notice that your eyes get tired. They have their muscles as well. And so it is actually kind of draining to do this. But gradually you build up this ability, it is going to help with balance. The next one is a minute of your head up and down. And again, if you struggle with balance, specifically with vestibular, this might make you spin and lose balance a little bit. So you might want to start seated, but this motion is up and down. So if I want to start really challenging this, I might bring it to a more challenging balance stance for myself in that 1 minute, and that makes it a lot harder. The next one is a minute of marching with high knees. So when we really bring those knees up, I'm having to be on one leg a lot more, but I'm also in motion with that. Even one level up is marching in a line, marching in a direction would be even a little bit more challenging with that. Next one is tandem walk. We're not going to do this in here because really when you do tandem walk, you should do it in a hallway or maybe beside your counter at home, something that you can grab onto. In fact, counters are great for all of these things because even if you feel really stable, you can still hover an arm, a hand here, so that if you needed to, you can grab on really quick. But when we're doing tandem walk, that means we're putting one foot right in front of the other foot. And if you do this in a hallway, then it's a lot easier if you start to slip. You can reach out. So you could make just a general rule for yourself anytime you're going down the hall. You just do a little balance practice as you're going. So another way to just incorporate things into your daily life. And then the last one being the 1 minute standing on a minute standing on one leg, 30 seconds on each side. Okay, so last time, let's hop up. If you feel like you have good balance already, you can stand up to begin these. You can always hold on to your chair. If you're unstable or don't feel super stable with your balance, you might want to stay seated for at least the first 2. Okay, so we're going to do not quite a minute. We're going to kind of breeze through these. We're getting a little, trying to wrap it up here. So let's do our eyes side to side. And we're going to start now. Okay, so just pick 2 points. Take your eyes from left to right. You'll start to feel your eyes fatigue a little bit. Your goal is over time to get this movement as quick as possible, but still maintain focus as you go side to side. So you're focusing on the left point, so focusing on the right point. But you're starting to get that movement faster and faster. Okay, stop there. Awesome. Now we're going to go into moving the head up and down, particularly if you have balance concerns at all. Stay nice and close to your chair or seated. Now for some people, this movement can actually make them feel a little bit dizzy. So you want to do it where you are right now. You don't want to make yourself sick at all. That's not a good idea, but just do as much as you can and then work up. You'll get better at it. Okay, now stay nice and close. If you are in a standing position, stay nice and close to that chair and so that you can grab on if necessary, but we're going to go high knees. Very good. Got some fantastic balance in this room. Great job. Okay, a few more seconds here. All right, we're going to skip the next one. Try it at home, either kitchen counter or down a hall. And then our last one, and also with this one, stay close to your chair. We're going to have a test of how long you can do each leg. So I'll count off 5, 10, 15, 20. We'll stop at 20 on each leg. So just test yourself, see how long you can do it. All right, one leg stand and begin. It's hard. Okay, sorry, I forgot to count off. You're at 15 seconds already, guys. Okay, almost there, and 20. Okay, let's switch to the other foot. You probably started on your dominant foot. The second foot is going to probably be a little harder. We naturally start on our easier side generally. That was 5 seconds. Okay, you're at 10, 15, and 20. Very nice. Okay, you can sit down. Yeah?
Why is it that one day you can do that and then the next day you can't?
It's really interesting, but oftentimes balance experts say that it's a lot like blood pressure, that your balance ability actually goes up and down a little bit. It's highly related to how well you sleep too. So that's pretty fascinating. So we try to get sleep for a lot of reasons, but one is balance. So If you're someone that's really struggling with balance and you've had a terrible night of sleep, then you need to be really cautious that next day because your balance will be affected. But all sorts of things play into that. If we did that, we've done it at the end, we already did a lot with our legs. So that also affects balance if you've really worked those muscles a lot. So I did this in the kind of the opposite order, but you'd probably want to start with more your balance section instead of doing it after, unless you want a big challenge.
Shoes or no shoes?
Oh, I love that question. I generally say no shoes. And because we have a lot of proprioceptors on the bottom of our feet, and it helps give our brain information. But in real life, we're often in shoes. So my actual answer is train for real life, wherever you're at. Like, you can do both. So if you're in a lot of, like if you're training hiking, and you like to be able to navigate a path well, you're doing that in your shoes, you might want to do some balance training with the shoes too. So yeah, but it's a great question. I like the little socks that they have, the grippy hospital socks. Those are no fun. I don't like those. But the little, the yoga socks, the Pilates or yoga socks are fabulous for balance training because you can grip the ground. But in her purse, look at this. Oh, really? Okay. That's awesome. That's so cool. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to wrap it up now, but just coming back to this question of what is your why? So with taking care of our bodies, there's so many reasons too. So oftentimes when we're in that moment where we're thinking to ourselves, well, I should probably do this, but I really don't feel like it. It's good to have your why, and even putting it on your refrigerator or something. Put your why front and central in your life, because the consistency of training really matters. It's not whether we do one thing once a month and then another thing another month, but it's that consistency that tends to make such a huge difference. And it doesn't have to be huge. So if you see your picture of your little grandkids or whatever your why is, then that hopefully might motivate you to do the exercises. And especially with that, I just want to encourage you with future generations, since that's my story, your willingness to take care of your body and your strength affects future generations, because they get to have you around and they get all the wisdom. And so thanks to my parents and Adele, who's also a grandparent to my kids, thank you for taking care of yourself, because we get to benefit from that. So, but there's so many other whys as well, and just some ideas up there, but really keep that front and center. So with Together One, I'll just quickly give you an overview of what we offer. We do in-person one-on-one training and small group training. We go in-home. So I love going in-home because we're in your environment. We see the challenges that you're facing in your home, and we can train you exactly for those. And so I really, really love doing that. And then also we do virtual sessions. We have some clients that are out of state, and I'll show you our app in just a minute, but we do some virtual sessions and then have them going on an exercise program. And then we also have a caregiver supported program. And this is for caregivers that want to partner with their loved ones. And so we offer support through using our trainers and with our app to deliver a program that they can do together. And yesterday I got to film the most inspiring story. I wish I had the footage ready, but I have a client who's moving out of state, and so she's sad that, we won't be doing the in-person sessions all the time. And so she's got this, she lives with her grandkids, her daughter and children. And so her grandson was there, and I said, would you mind helping your grandma? Would you be her workout partner? And he's a 15-year-old, and he got so excited, and it's the cutest thing. And so he's helping her every day with the exercises. So I don't feel sad as much that she's moving to Utah, because I know she's probably in better hands, because she texted me this morning and said, my grandson has my workout schedule for 10:30 this morning. And so it's just beautiful. But that's the heart behind our caregiver support program, is just providing a way that you can do something together and connect over in that way. Yeah.
So where would you do your small group training?
It depends. Some of them is actually in my home. So the small groups that I have, we're also, I've got someone else in the senior community that's helping me try to find a location outside of my home too. But I take groups up to 4 people, and my trainers actually can come to my house and lead the groups there. So it depends. I'm in North Colorado Springs, but yeah. But if someone's interested in doing a group and they have the people and they want to invite them to their home, that's a great way to do it too. So if you have a few friends or neighbors or that sort of thing. So yeah. So this is our Strong One app. And we've made this specifically to be easy to navigate. So one thing that I hate, and I'm not even over 50 yet, I'm almost 50, but I hate passwords, right? I hate passwords. And so this app, you get in once, you never have to re-enter that password. It has easy navigation, and basically what it has is it shows you your workout. So it doesn't show this front screen, but you'll have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You just click on the day and then it pulls up the different things to do, and so it has a little video on that. Our trainers on the other end can see exactly what you've done based on that app. They see how long you did the exercise, they answer any questions. So it's just a really neat way to keep people engaged while you're in the comfort of your own home on your own. So
how do you download it? You ask for Strong One or what?
yeah, right now we don't have a version that you can download just on your own. Right now it is that it goes through the trainer. We are working on that though. My husband's a developer. He's super smart and he's on the job. We're gonna get a version that we're hoping is something that people can just go and download and be able to use based on an assessment. So we're working on it. So anyway, another thing that we have is I do a weekly newsletter, and I will put a lot of these, kind of like today, I'll just put a lot of tips in that. Here's something you can do, here's something to think about. And so that I have a sign up here. I forgot to bring my other sheet, so if you can put your email on the other side too. Just if you want to leave me with your email, then that I offer that as well, just for general information. And then as well, we do free consultations. So if you want to speak and get a little more information in depth about our programs, then happy to do that.
Can't you go back so we get that here?
I don't know. Can we go back?
Click that replay button. I'm gonna restart at the beginning.
Okay. We're going to go so fast. Yeah, and I have information up here too. Well, I give you the brochure, but I have cards and, oh no! Okay.
Push left on the direction.
Oh. What? Oh. No? Okay, I'm going to concentrate really hard this time.
Do it while you're standing on one leg.
That's such a good idea. Okay, wait for it, wait for it.
Wait.
Yay, okay. Yeah, that QR code should work, or yeah, just reach out. Okay, any questions? Okay, thank you so much thanks for playing along. That was really fun, so thank you.